4.75. These contracts 7.27 11.5 cents lower. May soybeans leading the way down, 17 cents lower at 17.31 July 17.04, 15.5 off. The Novi contract 15.20 down 11. July wheat 10.73, 3.5 cents lower. And again today we have mixed livestock markets. June live cattle 82 cents lower, 139.07, but a bump in lean hogs. June 119.57 up 240. I'm Andy Eubank. This is Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's lead.
Or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Sound Off. Today is Friday, April 22nd. I'm glad to have you with us. If you're new with us, Sound Off is a community conversation show we have with local leaders and idea people about things that are impacting your life. Sometimes we have topics, sometimes we have guests. During the primary, though, we're all just having topics guests talking about the people that you can and cannot vote for, hoping to make you a little more informed as you go into the ballot box. Hey, I did want to give you an announcement real quick. Astute listener and fan of the show, Mike Pavey did text me, and probably breaking news here. All right, this is the kind of reporting you get here only on Sound Off. The 7-Eleven has again restarted the work here in LaPorte. Slurpees will be on the menu soon. Yeah, exactly. Get excited about it because, guys, 7-Eleven is coming. All right, on the show today, we have Mike Rosenbaum, LaPorte County Councilperson. Mike is running again. He is seeking re-election for his spot. Mike, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for doing better than I was on Monday evening, or I should say at least Monday evening was the exactly what I needed. That was tax day, and for me, I'm with a new firm with a lot of new clients that I didn't know before, so having to learn them, having to go through everything, and just working with some new great people. It was a climax that I was glad that I took Tuesday off.
Yeah. I
came back on Wednesday. I took Thursday off, and and today is also a day off. Also part of recovery, and also, when you're that busy, you don't get a chance to do campaigning. Mm-hmm. So in the past couple of days, I'm going to have a mailer going out. I'll be bringing it to the post office after the show. I've also been knocking on doors. Been very surprised at some of the responses. I'm always surprised when people go, "I know you," yeah. and it really shocks me because when you're a recognizable person, and I'm not saying a famous or anything like that, but when you're a recognizable person, you can't know everybody, mm-hmm. and yet your face is on Zoom or on the cable TV. And so, it's kind of funny how people just walk up to you and say, "Hey, Mike, how you doing?" And it's like, I'm going, where do I know you from?
Yeah.
And it's sometimes I do know them. And sometimes it's great because I've been involved with so many different things. I've been involved with baseball. I have been involved with scouting. I substitute teach. I've taught in 3 different school districts. I primarily now do New Prairie. It's just that it's a very good working environment with me over there. The students know me, so when I walk in, I was there as a matter of fact, that's what I did Tuesday, is to break away so I wouldn't touch an email, was to keep myself busy and occupied. I was a history teacher, social studies teacher, and I was also the French teacher. So the thing about it is you wait out in the hall in between the periods, and the teachers are noticing how many kids are coming by and saying, "Hello, Mr. Rosenbaum, hello, Mr." But I've been doing it for so many years mm-hmm. that some of them known me since they were in elementary school. And it's quite a great feeling to still have that rapport,
sure,
and that respect. It's just incredible.
So as you're going out and as you're seeing some of these people, and I often, people will say, "Hey, I recognize that Bobcat Goldthwait voice that I hear on Sound Off." And it's usually Dennis Siddell that says that. But so when you see people out and about, what are you hearing from them? Are you hearing positive things about how county government's going? How What are you hearing or is concerning some of the people, some of the voters?
The biggest thing right now is got to do with another group other than myself. It's not got to do with the council. We've had Wednesday, we had some eventful evening, and so they're taking there's airspace being taken up and news being reported on some behaviors that I wish would stop, and everybody is saying this has got to end. We've got to start working together, and I've stayed away from that fray because you need to work with everybody. So you can't take one side or the other, but you can also try and say, hey, common sense says maybe this is how we should approach it. And there's been several different approaches. I mean, I was very disappointed with creating this. Well, this is not what people are saying. So let's go to what people are saying. So that's what they're frustrated with more. They're not upset about the lit. They're not upset about the way the council is handling themselves with what we're doing at the fairgrounds, with some other things that are happening. It is really, what separates us from other counties is when you have bickering and fighting. That's noticed throughout the state, and it's not a good look for us. And I'm just hoping that businesses are overlooking that as they think about coming to us. And so far, we've had some success, but I think we could have better.
Yeah, certainly. And again, I don't know what the impact is, but I know economic development people here that are working with the county and the cities have said, when companies want to move into an area or when they want to relocate here, they certainly check the headlines. And when the headline seems like the government can't function and get along well, it tends to be a place where some companies want to stick away from. So people don't realize sometimes the residual impact of some of those kind of conversations.
So I just want to add something about that. It's like I was new, obviously, 3.5 years ago onto the council, and so people were really watching, who is Mike Rosenbaum, how he's going to react, how he's going to handle himself. And about a year ago, I was very surprised by a couple of, I'll say, contractors or vendors that work with the county actually pulled me aside to say, Mike, we really like the way you take your time, you think about things, you do your homework. And so, that's the type of thing that I want to be known for, is that I'm not quick to make a decision. And that'll lead into more discussion, I'm sure. But the interesting part was that these are the people who make their money off of seeing success happen in the county. Mm-hmm. And when they turn around and say to you, you're doing a lot of positive things, keep it up. I mean, that was very encouraging a couple of years ago to hear, and now to just keep doing the same thing I've been doing.
We've got County Councilperson Mike Rosenbaum on the show. If you have a question for Mike, the Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. You're welcome to call us here in the studio. You can also email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. That's one word, soundoff. And I would be happy to ask that question for you as well if you'd like. If you're streaming with us online through Facebook or YouTube, just put your comments put your question in the comment area, and I will check that periodically, and I'll make sure I ask those questions as well. We're going to take our first break of the day. We got lots to cover today. If you have a question, again, 219-362-0522. We'll get to your questions as soon as we get back from this break. Keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, owner of LaPorte Seamless Gutter. My parents started LaPorte Seamless Gutter in 1982 with one goal in mind, really. Our customers' 100% satisfaction. And we are still providing the same customer service that Tim and Seal Conowitz started all those years ago. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com. 219-362-9972.
Hi friends, Chief Deputy Ron Heeg here, and your Republican candidate for sheriff. I'm a 25-year veteran of the Sheriff's Office, starting my career within the jail. I worked my way up through the ranks to my current role of Chief Deputy. I'm active within our community, serving on the Board of Directors for Grand Heritage Federal Credit Union, Stepping Stone Shelter for Women, LaPorte County Triad, and for Indiana Homeland Security District 1 Task Force. I'm married to my wife Heather, and we live in Kankakee Township with our 2 daughters, Olivia and Allison. I humbly ask for your vote on or before May 3rd, paid for by the committee to elect Ron Heeg sheriff.
Nothing says spring better than a visit to Small's Garden Center in Stoneyard. Small's has the area's largest selection of plants, trees, shrubs, evergreens, perennials, and it's all 30% off now at Smalls. And choose from over 60 varieties of fruit trees, raspberry and blueberry bushes, 30% off. Want someone else to do the work for you? No problem. Simply ask Smalls to deliver and plant your purchase. It's all at Smalls Garden Center in Stoneyard.
When it's time to make improvements on your outdoor space, think Smalls Garden Center in Stoneyard. At Smalls, you'll find a huge selection of decorative stones, wash stone, limestone, slag, flagstone, pavers, and boulders. Plus, Smalls will load or deliver it for you. And right now at Smalls, all topsoil and mulch is on sale. Call or stop by for prices. Shop Smalls' new selection of outdoor products for outdoor living, patio and garden area, and save on outdoor decor items. Now 30% off at Smalls. Smalls Garden Center in Stoneyard, US 20 in LaPorte, open Monday through Saturday, 8 until 5, and Sunday, 10 until 4.
This is Adam Karanka, Republican candidate for LaPorte County Council District 1. I want to help make LaPorte County the place where our children choose to raise their children. To do this, my priorities are to support public safety and emergency services countywide, to focus on creating high-paying jobs, and maintaining strong public infrastructure, all while being responsible with county funds. Please vote for Adam Karanka for LaPorte County Council. This ad is paid for by the committee to elect Adam Karanka.
Remember that last power outage here in LaPorte? Yeah, that was my fault. So I was driving down Boyd Boulevard, minding my own business, when I hit the mother of all potholes. It darn near swallowed my GMC when it spit me out. Yeah, snapped that power pole right in half. Ruined my day, but I knew what I had to do. I had Big Red towed straight to the collision center at Sowers Buick GMC. They removed every splinter of that NIPSCO pine twig from my truck, and she was good as new. So remember, when it's crunch time, it's time to call the Collision Center at Sowers Buick GMC in LaPorte.
Vote Fagan 2022. Who is Sean Fagan? He's a lawyer. He's a Republican. Sean Fagan, running for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Sean Fagan knows that LaPorte County is a great place to live, and he wants to keep it that way. Sean Fagan for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Be safe. Be strong. Let's work together. Vote Sean Fagan 2022. This message paid for by Fagan for Prosecutor.
You wouldn't take your child to just any pediatrician, would you? So why would your pet's health care be any different? Hello, I'm Dr. Justin LaFollette from Hero Pet Animal Hospital. We are excited to bring you a full line of small animal veterinary services to LaPorte County. We are conveniently located in Westville, across the street from McDonald's, open at 8 a.m. Monday through Saturday, and offer both walk-in and appointments. Call today, 219-515-HERO.
Michiana weather.
Cloudy this afternoon with scattered thunderstorms likely. Highs around 62. Southeast winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. 58 tonight. Slight chance for scattered showers. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. Right now, 55.
We're waiting to hear from you. Dial or text 362-0522 and let us know what you think. That's 362-0522. Back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. This is Sound Off for April 22nd. I don't know if you heard the good news at the top of the hour. At the top of the show, the 7-Eleven in LaPorte is restarting construction. It is on its path to being completed. Slurpees for all. Dennis Sedella's paying. All right, we got Mike Rosenbaum on the show today. If you've got a question for Mike, the Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. You're also welcome to email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com if you're streaming with us online. Put your comments in the, or put your questions rather, in the comment section of YouTube or Facebook, and we'd be happy to read those. Let's get to some callers. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. Thanks for calling. We got Mike Rosenbaum here. What's your question?
Hey, Nate. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, Mike, this is Matt Swiljorek. I had a couple quick questions for you, man. Obviously, the first statement everyone's going to keep bringing up is the embarrassment of the commissioner's office, which you really have no control over. So my first comment is, like, I've been watching what you've been doing for the last couple of years, and I just want to commend you. I really do think, like you guys stated before, that you've been kind of more taking your time versus some councilmen in the past have kind of knee-jerk reactions. My major question is, and I talked to a lot of citizens in LaPorte about this, can you explain the difference to the people between a councilman for the county and the commissioner's job for the county so that we can kind of decide who we're going to vote for based on what kind of things we want done for the county.
All right, thanks for calling, Matt. Yeah, so what is the difference between a councilperson and a commissioner?
Well, it's kind of easy to look at it. You have to break up things into two parts. One is you have the everyday operations and the people who manage all of that and the people who set the laws and rules, with certain exceptions when it comes to money. So that is what the commissioners do. They are responsible to keep the operations going, the county going when it comes to making sure that the departments are running. They're supposed to also be making sure that everything is done efficiently to the best of their ability and that things are working well. The council, all we deal with is money. We set the budget based upon hearings that we hold in the summertime, and then we do get additional funds that are restricted. And so with those additional funds is what we have. All we have is to spend on special projects, and a lot of times they're capital projects or they're for equipment that's not in our regular budget. So all we do is just handle the money. So we've had people come to council meetings, and I've got to give credit where credit is due. And Randy Novak, all of us, we sit there, we listen attentively to what people have to say, and we don't respond. The only time that there's a response is that we respond later. We don't respond, it's not a question and answer period. So what happens is Randy lets them know if it's something that they've got to take to the commissioners, because that is an everyday operational thing. Thank you.
All right, we've got some more callers here. We've got Mike Rosenbaum on the show. If you've got a question, you're welcome to call the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show. You're on the air. What's your question for Mike Rosenbaum?
Good afternoon. Thank you for coming on the air, Mr.
Hey,
Rosenbaum.
Steve.
This is Steve Hollifield.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, a question that was continually side-skirted at the public meeting on 2 Mondays ago, I believe, about the lit tax when it was shoved down our throats, is what happens, what's plan B if we do not attract qualified candidates at these higher salaries, or these other counties continue to plunder and pilfer their taxpayers' wallets to raise the salaries and they poach our employees? A good business has a plan B for every opportunity that comes out there. So what is our county's plan B? We were never addressed on that last Monday. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Steve. Yeah, so it's a good question. So if this doesn't work, if this plan doesn't work, and you're not getting more people to apply for these jobs or more people to stay for these jobs, where do you go next?
Well, I first have to tell you we've had some success when back about a month ago when we gave an additional separate increase to EMS. The problem that we had with EMS is that some of the people were below $15, and once we got them to $15, first, we stopped the stem of people leaving. Secondly, we were able to start hiring more or staying even. But Steve brings up a point there's really an economic thing that goes behind this, and that most people don't see, is that when there's a shortage of the number of EMS people, like I'm just using that as an example, and this came up at one of our meetings, and I'm not sure if you were there or not, but it came up that there's only 4,500 in the entire state for 92 counties, and then you've got to break them up by county. Now you're fighting for 4,500 people. So you can start playing a money game if you pull a little higher for you. Then the next one, if they have the money, they'll make it a little higher. But you really have to make job satisfaction. And the problem that we had when people were leaving us, yes, that we were a little bit overwhelmed, and that's why we have a new EMS station going up in Rolling Prairie. We plan to fund that with a whole crew, an additional 24-hour crew. So that means that we'll start taking some of the pressure off the others. That was one of their other concerns. So by trying to create a better environment while we're also giving similar salaries, we're not going to be the top paying salary. We're just going to try and be competitive. And if somebody wants to go for the almighty dollar back and forth, we've just got to create the environment. And as a business consultant, that's what I talk to my clients about. And the same thing goes on within my own firm. I'm a CPA. And what happens is there's so many talented people around, but everybody's fighting for them. And so, for me, they created the opportunity for me to work remotely out of my house. That's a great thing. But at the same time, the busy season's over. I can't tell you how many emails and notifications I'm getting from all over the place. Are you interested? No, I'm not. But anyway, because I'm satisfied where I am. And so taking that, we have to create that environment.
All right, thanks so much. Let's get to one more call here. Hey, thanks so much for calling the show. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Mike Rosenbaum's here in the studio. What's your question for Mike?
Yeah, I got a question about this public safety lit tax you got going on. You always mention EMS and the police department, fire departments. I feel like you guys have neglected one department, and that'd be the county highway. Because without the county highway, you guys wouldn't be able to, say, during a snowstorm, blizzard comes out, those personnel cannot get on the roads without the county highway or a tornado or storm obstruction of the road. I feel the county highway should belong part of that public safety because they do provide public safety for the roads. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Okay, well, first of all, we can't pay you out of the money from the safety lit. But what happens when we create the safety lit? Some of the money that's coming out of our general budget gets moved over and comes out of the safety lit. So we're not talking about zillions of dollars here. We are talking, some money that why we wanted to get another study of salary study, because people like the highway department, and trust me, I'm feeling the pain that when I found out that the state highways, the state Department of Transportation was hiring people at $20 an hour to start, and that's about where we are on an hourly basis without other increases for time, longevity, where we are at some of our top people. And that's part of the part that I feel that we need to fix. So the safety lit allows us to free up the other money so that we can start looking at other people's salaries. And trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. We've been talking about this I know since the summertime. And I'm never going to forget it. And I'm still, we've got to just keep finding new ways to make that work. But what happens is we can't pay for it out of there. And what's funny is everybody thinks they're essential. They are. And the highway department, absolutely essential.
So is that one of the intentions of the county then, is to take some of this increase in revenue from the lit, put it towards the public safety, and then take some of the public safety money that's being used now and use it towards some other departments that might be under budgeted or
that's exactly
underfunded?
how
Okay.
That's exactly how it will work. Is that as you move line items into a specialty fund, and that it's no longer going to be paid out of the general fund, all of a sudden that tax rate is still the same, so that money is still there if we don't change the tax rate. So therefore, with the monies that just were coming for the general funds, the general budget, now it gives us the opportunity to give increases. I also have to remark that last year we gave the highest increase in over 20 years to salaries.
All right, let's get to another question here. We've got Mike Rosenbaum on the show. Councilperson Mike Rosenbaum's here in the studio. You're on the air. What's your question for Mike?
Hi, is it me?
Yeah, that's you. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Mike. I just was wondering, it might be not in your office position yet, but where would you stand if it came down to it for this lithium-ion plant coming out here in Fish Lake, Indiana? Would you be for it or against it? Thanks.
Thanks for calling.
That is, what's funny is it just started to come across. The information is just starting to come across to me, and I don't have enough information yet to give you, a good answer. I mentioned before, I really like to do my homework. I know that these lithium battery plants that they're planning to be there, these are some pretty large batteries, and I just don't know the science yet. So I need to get more information and learn about it. It's one thing to put up a solar farm or wind farm, in the KOP area or somewhere else. But these lithium batteries, like I said, I don't want to say anything incorrect, because I do know that, I had a cell phone years ago that had a lithium battery, and all of a sudden I felt it warm in my ear. And the first thing I did was get rid of it because there was a problem with those batteries. But I'm not saying there's a problem with what's coming in. I just don't have enough research yet.
All right.
So I'll be looking at it.
Here's a question we received online. We've heard about the recent criminal charges about a subcontractor here at the banks, a project by Flaherty and Collins here. What do you think about the proposed tax ordinance that was presented this past commission meeting? Obviously, we had State Senator Mike Pachacek on one side here, and then Commissioner Joe Haney seemed to take issue with it. He did not support it as it was written anyway. Where do you stand on that as a tax person? You've got no opinion on it?
You know what? It just came out Wednesday night. And I'm going to tell you, we were not read in before.
Okay.
So basically, at this point, what I will tell you, the issue about having, and I don't want to use the words illegal immigrants or anything like that, or using people that are paid where you're not collecting taxes or not getting income taxes back for it. I see that as a problem in a big picture for the United States. And I also see it as a problem because, we have unions here who are working so hard. And as a matter of fact, I believe it was the unions who may have even brought this up, these issues up about having this. I know that on April 11th, they had a meeting about it. I was invited to the meeting. Unfortunately, it was before the 18th, and I couldn't attend. So I know that there's a lot of people who are working forward to try and get proper reporting and proper taxes paid. Now, I can't speak for what came up. I'll get read in. It's not. I do not believe it's going to be addressed on Monday night. We would not have had enough time to advertise.
All right. Well, thanks so much. We've got Councilperson Mike Rosenbaum on the show today. If you have a question for him, the Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. You're also welcome to email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com or just write your question in the comments of YouTube or Facebook that we're streaming live on, and I'd be happy to ask him. We're going to take our final break of the day, and we'll be right back here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Car problems often strike at the absolute worst times, but you can rest well knowing that Cannon's Automotive Service is here for you and dedicated to get you back on the road with prompt, efficient, same-day service. The same Cannon's commitment that LaPorte has trusted for over 50 years. Cannon's Automotive Service, now with 2 locations, 710 Tyler Street and 909 Boyd Boulevard.
We're Cannon's Automotive. We fix everything.
Hi, I'm Al Ott, Democratic candidate for LaPorte County Sheriff. During this election season, you will hear many candidates make many promises as to what they will or will not do if elected. I make one promise and one promise only. That is to do the best I can to provide exceptional leadership and law enforcement services you expect and deserve. I respectfully ask for your vote and support on May 3rd. I'm Al Ott, and I approve this message.
Come into Bell Tire today. You'll get the lowest tire price, period. Like up to $150 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires. You'll also get a guy who will give you free lifetime flat repairs, tire rotations, and alignment checks. Get up to $150 off select sets of 4 Goodyear tires, plus more free services and more out of your tires and more for your money. It's how we make the lowest tire price feel even lower at Bell Tire. See store at belltire.com for details and offer expiration.
While too many politicians are all talk, Jim Pressel is taking action. As Joe Biden's disastrous policies are sending inflation through the roof and causing higher gas prices, conservative leader Jim Pressel is taking a stand and delivering real relief for Hoosier taxpayers, voting for the largest income tax cut in Indiana history, putting real money back in the family budget. Jim Pressel is also an outspoken defender of the unborn and is the only candidate in the race endorsed by Indiana Right to Life. Pressel also believes our liberty is worth defending and has stood against government mandates and for our individual liberties, including our Second Amendment. That's why Jim Pressel is endorsed by the National Rifle Association. Jim Pressel is the conservative leader who is fighting to defend life and liberty. Vote conservative Republican Jim Pressel for state representative.
Paid for by friends of Jim Pressel.
My name is Bill McQueen, and I own Perry Acoustics, a construction company here in the great state of Indiana. Each year, some construction companies misclassify their employees as independent contractors and illegally pay them cash under the table. That puts companies like mine that pay a good living wage and employee benefits at a major competitive disadvantage. These companies rob our state of over $400 million a year. Imagine what could be done for Hoosiers with that money.
Visit indianacip.com/tax fraud to learn how together we can tell them to stop stealing from Hoosiers.
Good news. Surf Fiber Internet is growing in LaPorte. Get 1 gig speed with a free whole home Wi-Fi router for only $65 a month. There's no hidden fees, no contracts, and free installation. They are building out more neighborhoods every day. So visit surffiber.com to check your address for service or call 844-955-SURF for more details. That's 844-955-SURF. This is a limited time offer. Speeds may vary and some restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Andy Heineck, Democratic candidate for Sheriff of LaPorte County. As a military veteran and a 22-year member of the Sheriff's Office who has worked in every division, I believe I have the experience to be your next sheriff. My goals once elected are to reduce recidivism amongst our inmates, expand our mental health services, and to focus on the heroin epidemic. I've dedicated my life to serving our community, and I'm asking for your support. Please vote Andy Heineck for Sheriff. Paid for by the committee to elect Andy Heineck Sheriff.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Hey, welcome back to our final segment of Sound Off for the day. I got Mike Rosenbaum here, running and for re-election here in the primary coming up here on May 3rd. If you've got a question, 219-362-0522. Mike's here to answer those questions. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling the show. Thanks for listening. What's your question for Councilperson Rosenbaum?
Hey, it's Matt again. Hey, Mike, first I want to say thank you for clarifying the difference between the commissioners and council. That brings me to this question. Now, I know that the commissioners, particularly Merzinski and Sheila, are all for this bypass around LaPorte, and obviously Tom Kermody wants to hang his hat on that project. Now, you said the council's in charge of the budget and everything. The last number I saw, and then they did talk about trying to find a different route that would be cheaper, would be about $120 million they were saying.
We're losing you, Matt. We're losing you, but I think the question was, again, they certainly haven't gotten a price yet in for it, but it could be $100 million, $120 million. As a council person, I don't know if you'll even have a vote in whether or not this happens and funding it. Where are you at on it?
Yeah, I'm going to share this with you. Right now, that has to be paid for with a lot of federal funds. Absolutely has to. The county cannot absorb that. The city cannot absorb that. So we need to get some help from the federal government. And we know that they always do these matching grants. And I don't even know if they do a 50% with us if we could find $60 million, or you could find 7 people willing to do that. You have to remember, we just recently, a few years back when I first got on, we did a $20 million deal on a courthouse. And the biggest plan that we had was we want to pay this off at the very first opportunity that we can, so we have no debt again, so that we can then do the next project. And one of the things that I'm looking at, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm going to tell you, because of where I live, I would personally benefit from it. So I'm going to be very cautious on the way I respond. I'm going to be very, I'm going to give you facts, not opinion. And so I just don't know where we're going to get that money on doing that. But we have other projects. And I just want to take it 30 seconds, less than that, 10 seconds. We have the project of a potential new jail. We have the project of, still, when we did the courthouse in Michigan City, we also have the courthouse here in LaPorte that needed to be worked on. We have other buildings and other things that need to be fixed. We're going to have correctional facilities that are going to be needed to be upgraded as well. It's a snowball. And also, if you take a look at the number of grants that our planner has gotten us, Mitch Bishop, and this is where having somebody who can write grants. Mm-hmm. We've got grants out several years out now where we've got millions of dollars that we'll be spending on those grants. And we expect that money to be coming in some of these special funds that we've talked about that are restricted. But if it falls short, that's where we may need to, find money. But that's where you may need to use it from the riverboat, and that's why I'm very cautious about using riverboat funds.
All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling the show. What's your question for Councilperson Rosenbaum?
Yes, I'm questioning this statement he made a few minutes back here with regards to, if they get all this money in from this new tax win, then we can move money around to pay, to possibly cut the wages out of the regular budget for the police officers or the EMS and just go all with this tax and do that. That's not what this was meant for. This was meant for the raises to get it competitive with other police departments and EMS people around here so that we could attract new people. I knew right away this is what was going to happen. When I talked to Novak guaranteed me that, oh, no, this won't not happen. And now this guy comes up, Rosenbaum, and he says, well, we can move this money around and we can start giving the raises to everybody else, you know, and take that money and use it in, you know, a different spot. This is not what this was meant for. It only took you 2 weeks to come out and make this statement now. And I knew exactly, this is exactly what you were going to do.
All right, let's let Councilperson Rosenbaum respond before the show's over. Go ahead.
First of all, on February 14th, when I was here last, I spoke about the same thing. And people also mistook and misunderstood how I was saying move money around. So let me be a little bit clear on this. We've been taking money, last year alone, $3.7 million from the special funds that are not going to be there in the future. That is going to have to come out every year, $3.5 million or more is going to have to come from somewhere. And it either comes out of the general budget or it's going to come out of the lit. So most of the lit is going to be eaten up just by those costs. And that includes the purchase of the vehicles. And I'm going to tell you, at last year, we only purchased 13 police vehicles. They need more than that every year, but they've been holding back. We have ambulances that we need to replace. We've been very slow on replacing them. Now I find out we've got a 2-year wait for ambulances. So, you know, this is not something that we're just taking lightly and say, oh, it's not a shell game, okay? All I'm trying to do is find a way where we've had temporary funds and say to you, we need to make these permanent so that we can do these things that the county needs on an annual basis. Plus, at the same time, we have the benefit of having some new induced funding coming in to start giving the raises as well. So it's not just about raises. And I'm sorry that that's what you think it is. It's not. It's about getting them the best equipment that they can have. And you just can't afford it in a normal budget. So that's where it is. It's not about freeing up millions and millions of dollars. We're not going to free up that much. And I'm going to tell you, a 1% increase for our workers was $350,000. So even I said $1 million, that's only 3% to give people. And with current inflation, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little excited, but with current inflation, I don't know how we keep up. So, you know, we're just trying to find permanent solutions of how we were spending temporary dollars. And that's what that was about moving, not a shell game.
Real quick, final question came in online here. When it comes to elections in the fall, which is better, straight ticket or just vote for the person you think should win?
Being a party...
party
executive
officer,
executive position, the short answer would be you vote the party. I will tell you honestly, that's not how I vote. I vote the person.
All right. Well, I'll give you the final word, Councilperson Rosenbaum. What do you want our listeners to know?
Well, I have to do one shout out to baseball buddy Bill, and we'll leave it go at that. One of the things I can say about some successes I've had, I'm the only one who's uncovered some fraud and got the county repaid. With the FMEC, it's a centralized organization for year-round events at the fairgrounds, and what we've been doing is making capital improvements. Not that they weren't there, but we had to update them. So we had to put in improved electrical, improved water, improved sewer and drainage. We're now at the point where break even or better. So that's what we were trying to do with it. And I'm on that, and I'm very happy to be part of that. I'm also on the economic development, but it's not just some of the projects that are coming to us for commercial. We also need to have economic development and housing. And I don't want to get into what happened at a commissioner meeting about turning down. I think there are a lot more facts to it than most people know. I don't think that the council, the commissioners are unfriendly. I think they wanted to know that there was a better plan than what was presented to them. And I think that part of it. So I can't speak for them. I wasn't there. I have spoken to some of them, and that's what I got out of it. So without anything further to say, I think I've been doing a decent job. A lot of people are telling me that, and I think that's why I'm going to ask you for your vote on May 3rd, on Tuesday. And I appreciate you allowing me to be here and asking all those great questions.
Yeah, as always, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you, and we're just glad to have you. Now you're, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have to shout out to there's two union organizations, the Carpenters Union and now I'm dropping the trades union. Both of them have endorsed me, and that to me, it's not. It's just a thrill of my life to be endorsed, get an endorsement of such nature, and then I'm also been endorsed by the firemen and the FOP. So I have never sought these, and it's been from the years of working hard that I've got them this election. Thank you.
Good to know. Thank you so much. And again, thanks so much for being on the show. I always appreciate when you're here. And again, I thank you so much for listening. On Friday or on Monday's show, we'll have Ron Schaefer, who is actually challenging Councilperson Rosenbaum here in the primary, and you'll get to hear from him as well. On that next Friday show, a week from now, we've got Adam Karanka on the show, who is running for council as well as a Republican. Again, thanks so much for listening. If you've got any questions about what candidate you should support, go to hometownnewsnow.com. We've got a election HQ. You can find all kinds of information from the candidates, and they kind of talk about their platforms, these things. Listen to past episodes of Sound Off. You can hear them on there, and just kind of inform yourself before you go to the ballot box. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back here on Monday. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us and voicing your opinion on this edition of Sound Off. The views on Sound Off are those of the host or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. Sound Off airs every Monday and Friday at 12:30. Please mark your calendar and join us again for the next edition of Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. Your home for country music variety is 96.7 The Eagle, WCOE FM LaPorte.
Your forecast on 96.7 The Eagle brought to you by Harmon Expert Auto Service. If you're looking for a local and quality auto repair company, then look no further than Harmon Expert Auto with 2 locations in LaPorte, 308 Washington or 111 Brighton Streets. Visit their website at harmonexpertautoservice.com or call 325-0440.